Okay, so here's the wood stove. Is a little bit of a modern design. There is wood storage over there on the bottom, and the box can take logs that are all the way to 18 inches, but I think 16 or 17 is probably better. It seems like it's very well made. I love that I have room here on the top to put a couple of pots, and I also bought a fan that will go on the back here because it doesn't have a blower. I bought it from a company called Drolet. I hope I say it right. This is the Deco 2, and they were great. It's made in Canada, and this is what we're going to install. We started by finding the center line. This is basically where the center of the stove is going to be, and I marked that line on both the floor and the wall. And then I put the level on the floor, or you can use a tape measure too, and we know how wide the stove is, and then we just added a few inches on each side to mark the section of the bricks that I will be installing on the floor and behind the stove. So basically the first step is just to find where your stove is going to be, and then how large, or the measurements of the section of where the protection of the floor and the wall is going to be installed. I used the multi-tool to cut the floorboard and the shoe molding so I can remove them. You'll see in a minute that I did mess the drywall just a little bit, but it's not a big deal since it is going to be behind the concrete boards and the brick that I'm going to install on the wall. Now we need to protect the floor and the wall behind the stove from the heat, and I am using 1/4 inch cement boards here, and then on top of those I will install thin bricks. I have a whole video with more details about this next part of the installation of the thin bricks, and I will link to it below, but we'll just go over it really quick over here. I'm using this cool tool that I don't know what the name of it's especially for cutting cement boards, and it makes the job so easy. There's no dust or anything. I'll try to find the exact name and put it in the description below, but basically we measured the space and then used 1/4 inch cement boards, the kind that you find at the tile section of Lowe's or Home Depot. I started with the floor section, so basically placed my cement board where I wanted to install it. Now I know that I have a couple of very thick boards, subfloor boards under my floors, so all I needed to do was just screw this cement board to the floor. I didn't need to find any particular location or anything like that. I just screwed it to the floor. Now this trim, this black trim that you see, if you at my local Lowe's, if I go in the tile section and look all the way to the back wall, there's those long strips of metal trim, and I think they're actually for bathroom, for like shower trim or something like that. Again, I will try to link to them below. They come in long strips, and what we ended up doing is cutting them to fit or to frame my area here on the floor, and we also did that on the wall. I think that they are really pretty. It's the whole thing is going to be thin, so they fit really well, and they just kind of tie the whole thing together with the black of the stove and the black of the trim, and it looks really nice for me. But that is something that we had to use the bend saw with metal blade on it, and just cut it, and we cut on 45 degree angle in the corners to just fit the whole thing together. Again, I have a whole more detailed video about installing thin bricks. I really fell in love with those things. They are so strong but thin and aren't bulky, and a really nice feature to install indoors. So basically, I marked a center line on my board, and then the first 2 bricks go on either side of this center line. It took me a minute to figure out my pattern, but once I did, the installation of these bricks was really easy. I used landscaping glue to go between the concrete and the bricks, and it holds very well. Spacing, I used a 1/4 inch spacers, but really I recommend to go with 3/8, and I used just mortar, regular finish mortar, to go in between the bricks. It was hard to get the mortar into the 1/4 inch spacing, so I definitely recommend going with 3/8. The thing inside is going to be in and start slow, don't touch it. The wrap. And the purpose of that war was to eliminate this terrorist organization. So the Taliban is kind of like Hamas. Maybe it was destroyed when the US went to war, but is it still destroyed? Is there still no Taliban? I don't know. They might be building it again, you know? I asked my teacher if it's still... Let me see this. So one. Here is the finished surface. I still need to wipe the brick with a wet sponge because they have a little bit of the gray mortar on them, but that will all go away pretty easily, and I'll do that at the end of everything. Again, there is a whole video dedicated just for this thin brick install, and I will link it below if you want to go deeper into that project. The next step was to position the stove and connect the pipe. Now I feel like I have to explain a little bit here because the original plan was to go with the pipe through the wall. We, for different reasons, changed the plan to direct the pipe through the ceiling, and that's why I did the whole brick wall behind the stove first. Then we put the stove where we wanted it and started installing the pipe and measuring where we have to open the hole in the ceiling. and we made a mistake, but not by not checking before. But basically there was a rafter right there where the pipe was supposed to go, and that just presented a whole different set of problems. Plus I decided that I didn't want to go through the ceiling because I have a metal roof, and that is a whole possibility for many leaks and needing to maintain that opening for years to come. So we went back to the original plan of going through the wall. If we kept this original plan and didn't change it to the begin with, then I would have opened the hole in the wall before I installed the bricks on the back wall. But since we changed the plan in the middle of the installation, I did that brick wall first, and what that meant now is that I had to cut the bricks to make the hole in the wall for the pipe. One of the reasons originally that we decided to go through the ceiling is because I have a brick, this wall behind those thin bricks there is an actual brick wall, and it is extremely hard to open a hole in a brick wall. I learned it literally took 2 days to work on this hole, and was hands down the hardest thing that I have done as far as construction so far in my life. So if you can eliminate that is definitely my recommendation. Also, we ended up, because I have an overhang of almost 2 feet of the roof outside, and again, I did not want to mess with the roof. We ended up needing to put a horizontal pipe to clear that overhang. So you will see in a minute that we had to build a whole support system for that pipe. To open the hole in the wall, I used a drill to make a whole bunch of holes in the brick, and then the grinder and a chisel and a hammer, just to kind of get it the way I want. Once the hole was open, I inserted a clay thimble that I purchased at a local store. After this project of opening a hole in a brick wall, I have to tell you guys that I have a whole new appreciation for brick and clay. They're just so strong, and I know that there are circular saws that you can use to open a hole in brick walls much easier, but they require all sort of bracing to the walls of the house and stuff like that, and it's not a tool that we had, so we just had to do it this way, and it was literally 2 days of torture, but once it was done, I was so happy with it. Then we moved back outside to basically create this whole support system for the horizontal pipe. Since I have 2 feet overhang, I needed to do this horizontal pipe, and I decided to include this project because it was a really big part of the overall installation of the stove. But you might not need to do all this bracing and structure. There is a way to brace the pipe to the walls of your house from the outside. If you're going through the wall, if you're going through the roof, then it might not need bracing at all. But for me, this was a big part of the project. We installed 2 4x4s about 18 inches deep, 18 inches to 2 feet deep down, and then put cement. I used the 4-hour quick cement, and even though it says 4-hour quick set cement, I usually leave it for at least a day before I do anything else with the posts. Next, we basically built that wall that you'll see how the pipe is going to be braced on. Lowe's has a kit that has all of these mounting brackets and stuff that you can see here in one kit, and that's what I ended up purchased. Then you purchase the pipes, the outside pipes, separately. These are triple insulated pipes, and in the kit you have that T that connects the 2 3-feet sections of the pipe. The T has a cap on the bottom, and you can open that cap and clean the pipes this way. It's just easy access to the pipes. So we braced all of those mounting things on this wall that we made on these 4x4s, and then I ended up putting 2 more 4x4s on closer to the house where you see those temporary ones now, and we put a metal bracing on the pipe on the part that is close to the house. You'll see in a minute how that was done. Next, we had to cut the 4x4s a little shorter. There's this nifty tool that it's like tracks, metal tracks that you can put, and then the blade of the sawzall can go in the tracks, and it is for someone who is a bit OCD like me and like straight cuts, then it's perfect because you just level the tracks on the 4x4 and then put the blade of the sawzall, and you can cut fence posts or any type of 4x4 in a straight line. So I will try to find it. I think I purchased it on Amazon, and link to it below. This is how it came out. I was really happy with it. Everything feels very secure and sturdy and not going anywhere anytime soon. Once the pipe outside was done, we were able to install the inside pipe. It's all screwed together. And I use replacement gasketing to kind of insulate around between the thimble and the pipe because I still had some space there. Obviously, since it's supposed to go inside of the wood stove, it is fireproof, and I just kind of wrapped it around itself, and stuck it in there to insulate so I don't have cold air coming from the outside. I also put some of the gasketing on the inside of the trim, and I just used the lent cape glue that I had left over from the brick. That seemed to work well, and then kind of put it all together on the wall. This little piece I bought separately, and I just did the same thing to install it, just glued it in there. Back outside, I used the bend saw to cut this little piece of metal pipe to put under the pipe of the stove. I did not want the pipe of the stove to touch the 2x4 that is part of the structure that is bracing the whole pipe. So you can see it here is just kind of separating the 2x4 from the pipe of the stove. I also put caps on the tops of the 4x4s just for a nice finish, and then I stained the structure. I ended up also decorating it. I don't have that on video, but I put like a hanging basket for plants, which not a very good idea for me because I cannot grow anything in pots. I forget to water them and the things die, but it is cute. I also put like a chalkboard on the front so I can write the kids messages that they see right when they get off the bus, and one of those jars with like twinkling lights. There's many things obviously that you can do to decorate a structure like that. I love how it came out. Not only it's sturdy and keeps everything secure, I also think that it looks pretty good. We connected the double insulated black pipe inside to the triple insulated pipe on the outside, and then it was time to kind of put this all together. Here it is finished. I have these boards on the wall they're from wooden pellets, and I got the hooks from Amazon and then all the tools from Amazon, and just hung them right next to the stove. Very handy and very easy to use. This hoe, I think it's called a hoe, I can't remember exactly. There's like a plug inside the stove that you can take out and then just kind of shovel all of the ash and everything into the drawer that is under the burn box, and then that way you can clean the stove. So this little piece of tool is really the one that I use the most. It is absolutely beautiful. It is very easily heating the whole house. So my house is 1100 square foot, and I don't feel like I have to add any other source of heat as long as the fire is burning hot. It really is the best decision that I did for myself. I do not like winters, and it really affects my mood. The short daylight hours and the fact that I can't be outside for too long because the cold is hard for me to deal with. And then I used to heat with electric heat, and it's just you're always uncomfortable. There have been months every year that I would just be uncomfortable because there was no place that was warm enough. And wood heat is just so different. I mean, looking at the fire burning and then feeling that bone warming heat, it just changes your mood. It does something to your system, and I absolutely love it. It was a big project, but very, very worth it. There's a lot of work involved around a wood stove, cutting, splitting wood, all of that stuff, and I can elaborate more on that in another video if you guys are interested. To clean the glass of the stove, I use this glass cleaner, which I also found on Amazon and is working amazingly. I have to say a big thanks for Andy, my friend, who really, I could not have done this without him. I was absolutely had no clue what I was doing, so really, really needed his help and direction, and I thank him for that. That's it, you guys. I hope you liked this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.